Welcome back to year number 12, week number 13 for the Cascade Valley Coyotes. Now, this week's game should be an interesting one. We're playing Minnesota, who is 4-6. In years past, we've typically blown them out of the water, but we've seen how our offense and defense have been kind of great one week, not great one week. After last week's game, we have no idea what we have left. That being said, we do score the most points in the nation, but they were actually the number 12 team in the nation for points per game. They just probably give up a lot of points, which is one of their big issues. But they've got prospects visiting this week. They are motivated. We're a top 4 team in the nation, baby. They want to win. Now, from a recruiting standpoint, last week was a massive week for us. We had like 5 or 6 guys visiting. We only ended up getting Landon Hatada, which is probably going to end up being a strong safety, and Leandro Gaines, who is a defensive end. I think he should be really good. Maybe not a year 1 starter, but a year 2, 3, or 4. He could definitely be an impact player. In addition, we actually brought Spencer Woolfolk back onto the roster. He's a guy that we scouted early in the season, and then we kind of said, we'll think about it. And he's honestly weird. 6'4", 200 pounds, and I kind of looked at his stats a little bit. I kind of couldn't figure out what he was, but then I realized spectacular catches in 81, catch and traffic is 74, 84 route running, his catching's a 77, 92 speed, acceleration is a little bit slower than I would like, and he's got decent zone coverage. He's probably going to end up being a corner, maybe a safety, but more than likely a wide receiver. And I think with all the wide receivers we have that we're going to be missing after next year, he's probably redshirted and then comes in and maybe is a contributor year 2, 3, or 4. Outside of that, though, things are mostly good, but we have a couple things we have to be worried about here. Cortez Terry, we're good. We're up 1,800 points against Auburn. They have a week 13 visit. They're not going to be able to surpass that. We should be good and land him. Marshall LaChapelle is where things get interesting. Washington had a really good visit last week, getting 1,000 points. We are down 510 with a couple of weeks left in the season. This is going to be really interesting. We might end up going into the offseason having to put a massive bid on him. We'll see how that works out. Also, I would just say don't sleep on USC buying back in. They're 1,700 points out. They have a week 14 visit. That could get them back in within reason, and they could do the unlock method to really get back in here, but we're just hoping that we can get this dude. 94 overall, we need him. Jarvis King might be a lost cause at this point. We're down 1,000 points. They had a week 11 visit that went really well, and we're only going up plus 35 each week. I don't know if we really have what it takes until we get to the offseason, if he lasts that long. Javon Ford is another tough one. Kentucky's visit put us back into the 3rd spot right now. We're only getting plus 95 each week. Iowa actually was locked out and then brought themselves back in with the unlock. So now we're even further behind with the 2nd team in front of us. So we'll see how that goes. Freeman should be good to be locked up. Tim Jones, we're trending really well. The only team to give him a scholarship. Michigan's starting to increase a little bit at the bottom, but we're the only team really giving this dude any play. We're looking at him for the bye week. Ontario Moses, I feel pretty good about him, but the week 14 visit from Oklahoma kind of scares me. I don't know how much we're going to be able to make headway on this guy, but we're just going to cross our fingers. He's a pretty good prospect. And then Spencer we talked about, and then Dalton Connet's another guy we looked at here. Kind of an interesting prospect. He's got throw accuracy and throw power, but we don't really care about that. We don't need a quarterback right now. 84 pursuit intrigues me, 74 zone. My assumption is he probably plays some sort of outside linebacker, maybe a defensive end. We'll give him a shot, but he's only 6'1", 246. We'll kind of see how it plays out. And from a draft class ranking, we're still the number 2 team in the nation from a draft class perspective. We have 3 5-stars, the most in the nation. But Georgia's has a better depth overall. We have some guys, and once we land them, I think we can surpass them. But as of right now, we're sitting number 2. The Heisman voting gives us a little bit of sad news here. Tyrell Brown falls off the Heisman voting for the first time really this season. This feels like Alex Cavers to lose. This dude has been balling out all season long. He's killing from a touchdown perspective, both offensively, passing and rushing. He's been a legend. Steen is making some headway, but I don't know if he has the firepower to take down Alabama and Alex Caver. But there is good news to be had. Last week in the College Football Playoff poll, we were number 7. This week, we're now number 3 after being the number 1 team in the nation. Auburn, I get it why they're there. Louisiana Tech should not be ahead of us with their schedule. The fact that we're barely above Troy and actually tied with Troy is kind of insane to me, but it is what it is. I think there is a little bit of scaredness here from our side that if Troy wins out, the committee could give them a slight edge for being undefeated, even though we have 1 loss against a very good team that was USC, who beat Georgia Southern ultimately and is now in the 7th spot. I'm going to have to remove up a little bit. But I like where we are. We're in position. As long as we win out the rest of the season in the college or the conference championship, we should be into the college football playoffs, but we control our own destiny here. Win, and I think we're in. Now, from an award finalist standpoint, we can cover these really quickly. Walker Steen is doing really well. He's actually above Alex Caver, which is kind of wild to me. They both had really good seasons. 43 total touchdowns for Steen, 37 total for Alex Caver. From the Walter camp, it's Caver and Steen, with Tyrell Brown being number 4. The Bednarik, Rodriguez Gibson, who's had a fantastic year, sitting there at number 1 with Christoph Houston right behind him. The Nagurski, Christoph Houston sitting at the top with Odiari at number 5. The O'Brien has Caver and Steen, Rogers, who we obviously played against earlier this year, but Taylor Reed is right there. 29 total touchdowns last week is an anomaly, hopefully, for his performance. We'll see what he has ultimately this week. The Walker, they say Dylan Gill is the best running back in the nation. I would disagree personally. I think Tyrell Brown is still that guy. 19 total touchdowns for him, 1,200 total yards ultimately at this point of the season. We'll see how he finishes out, but I think he's better than Dylan Gill. There's just a little bit of disrespect on his name. The Bolitnikov, Joshua Stanley, none of our receivers ultimately making the cut here. The Mackey goes to Rowe, potentially from Washington. Again, there's still some weeks to be played. Shembo from that team up north. The Remington would be likely Metter from the team up north as well, but he's injured, so maybe he gets usurped by Chris Jones. The Lombardi Odiari has been killing it. I mean, his name even rhymes in Lombardi. It would make sense that he ultimately gets that. The best linebacker, Christoph Houston, it is without a doubt him. No one is close to being as good as he has been. The Thorpe, Rodriguez Gibson at the very top with Lanier and Simmons both on that list. But again, this feels like Gibson's really award to lose. And then the Groza, we go to Smothers potentially. The Guy potentially to Johns. Shepard is up there. And nobody from our team on the return. One day we'll get there. After a crazy week last week, it did not go his way. Taylor Reed is getting an opportunity to come out here and potentially shine and do good work. He's been so good this season, but last week was not a good one. Our hope is the defense isn't too tired, because how the defense played last week was just absolutely electric. The best performance we've ever had, maybe in Cascade Valley history from the defense. You love to see it. And look at this. You love to see Mikael Smith with some room to run. He is going to take it all the way to the house. A pitch that we saw go in his hands. And then he said, "You're never going to see me again." The opportunity, 3rd and 7. It's like a halfback screen being dialed up. They go. Donald Gamblin sees it and brings down Delaney before he can get the yards that he needs. And it is a tough 4th down for Minnesota now. So it was a great drive there by Minnesota. Thought they might have had a touchdown opportunity there, but the heads up play by Donald Gamblin keeps them away from getting 7. And instead, it'll be 3 points down the middle as we head to a studio update to check out some of these games here. Ole Miss just beat #1 Auburn. I guess we're moving on up. Our guys need to stop here. They did really well earlier. They get a big stop here. Potentially another field goal opportunity for Minnesota instead of a touchdown. Hit a 32-yarder earlier. This one, I believe, will be a little bit longer for Minnesota. But it's pretty much straight down the middle of the field. This one is an absolute rocket, and that one is going to be good. Cut the lead to 1. Minnesota has been in the red zone an unbelievable amount of times today. And our hope is that this time we can shut them down yet again. We hold them to a field goal. They run with the halfback, and that one is going to be stopped. Valdez Olesen loses a yard, and it's 4th and goal. Probably another field goal opportunity. If it weren't for this defense, this team might not win 8 games because the offense has been terrible so far. We went from being electric to I don't even know what we are. It's not even good enough right now. And the studio update tells us that USC is in a tough one against UCLA. We need UCLA to win that game, and we need to win our game too. Yeah, Wombat. Minnesota's crowd feeling great. Our fans that traveled a little scared. To only have 1 touchdown at this point of the game is just, it's not very Cascade Valley like. I'm gonna put it that simple. 1st down, 10 yards to go. A beautiful ball. Jay Bohm lays out for a 24-yarder, and that's gonna give him the most receiving yards in a single season in Cascade Valley history, beating what Tom Baker had. What a monumental occasion, and we still have weeks to play. There's been a lot of talk about what happens to Jay Bohm next year. Obviously, he's not getting the luck or the love in the Heisman voting because of where he's at position-wise, but I'm loving what I'm seeing here from Tyrell Brown. Maybe not the juke we intended to make there, but he still gets a huge run. But there's a lot of questions about, does Jay Boom move permanently to wide receiver to really focus all of his efforts there? We'll see how our recruiting class comes in with corners, but it's a very good chance that Bohm could move to wide receiver full-time and obviously make a push for plenty of records. 2nd and goal, Tyrell Brown. An opportunity to get into the end zone here. He may not be existing anymore. It's a touchdown vulture coming in. Roderick Johnson needing a block. And he's got enough speed. Roderick Johnson, the 3-yard touchdown run, is going to give us the lead. And I'm hoping the defense can stop Minnesota's offense again. We need a stop here. They go with the pass. They go for a dump off. Mangiero has an opportunity, but the wide receiver Haskins, who they hit on the last play, gets confused. It goes the wrong way, and we are going to get the stop. You got to feel for Minnesota. They've been down the field so many times, and each time they were stopped, they had to kick a field goal. And they just got tired of it, I guess, and that cost them some potential points. They take those points. They're in a really good spot. But they decided not to, and instead, return of the Mac is out here zooming. Chris Mack, not the 1st, not the 2nd, but the 3rd is in the end zone 73 yards later. A lot of pressure on our young offense, but we can definitely get something done here. Taylor Reed has some time, and that was ill-advised. Taylor Reed definitely has a case of the Josh Allens, where sometimes instead of just getting rid of the ball, he'll throw something that you're kind of like, I get what you're trying to do, but that's not quite it. Offense rushes back here. 2 timeouts remaining. We want to hold on to him as long as we can. And Joe McBride with a beautiful catch. We're going to get out of bounds with 31 left. At roughly the 50. We're in a good spot. We got 31 seconds. We have 2 timeouts still. We're liking where we are. Taylor Reed tries to throw one back to his running back, and it goes almost into the hands of the defense. 2nd down, 10 yards to go. Tyrell Brown has to catch that ball. He is open for days, and that nearly was a pick because he dropped it. Tough times here for the receivers in Cascade Valley at the moment where they're trying to figure out something. He unleashes one. He has Chris Mack, and if somebody's going to catch it, it's going to be Chris Mack. 1st down, 10 yards to go. Reed has some options. He's going to keep this one. Reed is out of bounds smartly with 8 seconds left. He's got this team where they need to be. Taylor Reed was only blessed or cursed, depending on how you want to look at it, with 65 speed, but he makes the most of it. You love to see it. Jay Bohm wide open. It's a beautiful dot. And if somebody's going to catch it, it's either going to be Chris Mack or Jay Bohm. And the storybook season continues for Bohm. This game started out incredibly rough. We were struggling. We were even losing at one point in the 2nd quarter to this team. But we have found a way to fight back and get this offense really going the way it needs to go. And look at Tyrell Brown. We'll take the 7 yards. This is how he's been needed to run all season. Well, 2nd and 3. Tyrell Brown tries to bounce one to the edge, and it's not quite there. Big 3rd down. Little adjustment here from Reed. He's got his running back, but again, throwing it off his back foot is not a good look, but McMervin is going to be going for it. The offense is staying out. 4th down and 3 yards to go. Tyrell Brown holds on to that one, and you love to see it. The offense stays in the field. 1st down, keeping it moving. Got an opportunity, floats one, and Joe McBride has it, and then gets hit too hard and drops it. Let's throw Derek Johnson, the quarterback. 2nd down here. He's got time. He sets his feet, and look at the difference of throwing when our young quarterback gets his feet set. Keeping it moving here. A lot of pressure, but look at him stand tall in the pocket and deliver a strike. Safety creeping up in the box a little bit. And Brown has nowhere to run. There's nothing we can do there. We should have maybe audibled out of that. 2nd and 13. He feels the pressure, throws it on the run, and that's just not quite his forte. It's something we've definitely seen. Teams have realized that if you want to get to the quarterback, if you want to stop the young phenom Taylor Reed from doing anything successful, you've got to go ahead and get to him. If you make him throw on the run, he's just not quite the same. And it's tough, but we realize it. 4th down, 3 yards to go. Across the middle, return to the Mac. You know he's holding on to it. Reed has definitely had a much better game. 2 touchdowns, pretty efficient throughout the afternoon. Standing tall in the face of pressure. He has been the quarterback we were expecting to have last week. Luckily, we still walked out with a W. Or Derek Johnson in the backfield this time, but it's not going to be given to him. Carnell Killens, the freshman, is going to get in the end zone. You love to see it. Trying to build up this young man's resume. He's going to be a big part of our offense next year. Big 3rd and 8, McCollum. Again, he's been good in the mobile side, so we have to be careful of him potentially scrambling around. He throws an underneath pass. We got guys there. Can we get a stop? Gibson from the other side of the field stops Hod after 7. And it's something that Coach Mervin McMervin would never do. 35-9 is what the score is. They are going to kick a field goal to try to make it 35-12. This is just got to fire your head coach behavior, in our opinion. 3rd quarter's winding down. The offense is starting to look very good. And look at this. A nice little throw to Cathalay, which does not happen very often. Look at Chase getting some yards. Kel Smith coming back here in the backfield again. He's been lethal. Has a touchdown already from that spot earlier in this game. A huge juke move. Kel Smith, are you kidding me? He almost took that one to the house. Reed makes a nice little adjustment. He's been really good about getting his guys switched up on play calls. A ball to Chris Mack, and I don't believe he was actually going to catch, but he still holds on to it. Last play of the 3rd quarter here on 2nd and inches. The blitz is here. Reed all day throws a McBride, trying to get his 4th passing touchdown of the game, and he does just that. Keeping things moving. Nothing really from Minnesota again, so it's our offense letting the backups get an opportunity to shine. And Thornhill on the run, a strike to Marquette Renee, who I believe is his first grab of the afternoon. Kind of got a love what we're having seen happen right now. This is an opportunity for a young quarterback to get out there and do his thing and show that he can really be the guy that leads this team, despite the freshman quarterback that's ahead of him. Thornhill runs. The read option is going to keep this one. Plenty of blockers up the field, and look at Mac Thornhill get nearly a first. He's so good in the run game. Something you could probably expect to see in the future is just a little bit of Mac Thornhill, even in games that aren't a blowout. Look at Michael Isaacs. We forgot that he's a really good running back. He's tall, but he can absolutely run the football, not catch it. But you should fully expect to see Mac Thornhill in some of these future games, especially as we get towards the end of the season, having an opportunity to be in there with the starters, running a little bit of read option, throwing some passes so we're not super one-dimensional in that. He's good enough to make it happen, and we'll absolutely leverage him as he throws a dump-off pass to Carnell Killens, and Killens with the second grab of the game goes for 17. 1st and goal. Sees him in the back of the end zone as Roderick Johnson, a receiving touchdown. Not what he's usually known for, but we'll take it. The offense is still cooking. Minnesota, late struggling as the French say. And it's Thornhill finding Vaughns. Vaughns out here cooking. Froze number 40. in his spot. We're going to walk out here with a massive W against Minnesota. Another conference win, another boost for the ego of the squad, and Taylor Reed playing fantastic. 7 incompletions, 300+ yards, 4 touchdowns. I will take that every single time, especially if he's not turning the ball over. Recapping the game stats, Mac Thornhill actually got injured at the end of the game. We don't really know the extent of it, but we're hoping it's not a big one. He did have 2 passing touchdowns today, 8 for 11, $126. Taylor Reed, 19. Again, you saw the stats. He looked fantastic. Both guys are great, but we just need Mac Thornhill to be healthy so that we can use him a little bit here and there, sprinkling in the offense. On the ground, Tyrell Brown, 10 for 48. Didn't really run a ton with him because we want to keep him healthy for the end of the season. He did well. He was good, but it really wasn't a game that we wanted to run. We wanted to get the confidence of our young quarterback way up there. But shout out to Road Derek Johnson, 1 touchdown for him on 15 yards, and Mikael Smith with a unbelievable run. They got him a touchdown as well. On the receiving side, Jay Bohm led us 6 for 75 and 1 tutty. Tyrell Brown was pretty solid, but Chris Mack, 4 for 129 and 1 touchdown. He is proven to be the big-time player making big-time plays down the field. Mr. Reliable, Mr. Deep Threat, whatever you want to call him, put some respect on his name. Shout out to Joe McBride. Carnell Killens getting in there for 3 catches and a touchdown. Jason Vaughn's with a nice touchdown. And Roderick Johnson all getting receiving touchdowns today. And then defensively, Rodriguez Gibson doing what he does, making tackles, making plays. Love to see that. No real, interceptions today to hang our hat on, but Jaron Poe does get a sack today. Then again, no interceptions. A little disappointed, but they didn't really throw the ball too much today. But I will take a massive W like this every single time. Be safe, be smart, tell somebody you love them. Catch you guys on the next one.